Ready? Here we go. Get those flashes ready. Here we go. Ready? Oh, they go wild for the gains! What do you guys think? There you go. I'm ready. Who's ready to get carved up? Who's ready?
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
One more. Before we start, yesterday's episode was huge, and it was all thanks to you, so thank you so much for sharing. So let's do it again. Make sure you like and share the broadcast. Big things happening tonight is the nutrition workshop at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. So you can sign up with the link in the description. Nutrition workshop tonight. I am amped. I know everyone in premium is amped. I got some more premium calls today, so I am amped. I am busy, and I'm loving it. So make sure you hit the share button, like the broadcast, share. Every day at 12 noon Eastern time. So if you're just watching, welcome. Every episode's on YouTube and also podcast to bang your ear holes on SoundCloud and iTunes. Welcome everyone to episode 468 of the most muscular Swolecast ins around, because when I flex, you flex. Here we go. We all flex our biceps. And the crowd goes wild for the gains. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, going wild for the gains. All right, enough of that. Welcome to the Gain Train. Welcome to the Swole Show. Welcome to Boston, Mass. Welcome to Pound Town. Make sure you hit the share button. Let's get as many people in here as possible, because we're going to talk about carbs. Episode 468 is titled Carb Me Up, Buttercup. We'll carb you up. So let's talk about carbs. We've done episodes on carbs before. Let's break down carbs a little bit, because I'm going to save it actually for tonight to go into more depth of, like, you know, the different details of going higher carbohydrate and why. But let's talk a little bit about what carbohydrates do and what some of the logic behind doing a higher carbohydrate diet or dropping carbohydrates entirely. So a lot of you have heard about ketosis. A lot of you hear and talk a lot about high-fat diets, and it does help. It's great for fat loss. It's great for a lot of people that have sugar sensitivities. But at the same time, going completely no carb can be detrimental for someone that does bodybuilding, that does a lot of strength training, as opposed to someone that does more endurance type activities that can get away with a more longer, more drawn out metabolic process, like oxidizing fat. So right now in the comments, as you float the hearts, as you hit the share button, make sure you drop in the comments whether or not you have done a high fat diet, whether or not you implement a lot of fat, whether or not you do a low carb diet. Like, drop down below in the comments what you're doing right now. Like, what style of nutrition are you doing right now? And what I've been making clear in the last few episodes is that there's a lot of bio-individuality, right? So what you're doing today might not work. I don't want to say might not work tomorrow. That's a little bit too short term. But what you're doing now might not work in 5 years. It might not work in 15 years. It might not work in 20 years. So your style of eating that you did when you were 20 or 25 is going to be different than when you're 45 or when you're 55. And in many ways, it should be different as your metabolism shifts, as your style of training shifts, as different things start to shift in your life, your priorities change, and you're not trying to necessarily eat 5,000 calories to gain when you're 60 years old. You're trying to maintain more for health. And that's why I like to push a lot of this stuff now. That's why I like to push health a lot now, because too many of you and too many people that are in fitness that want to look a certain way, they completely ignore health. They completely ignore health, and it's a kind of shit that you regret when you're older, but you can't go back and change. So you're gonna regret this when you're 50 or 60 and you're like, oh man, I wish I didn't go so heavy. I wish I did more mobility. I wish I did more yoga. I wish I listened to old Papa Swole when he was telling me to do my mobility work and eat different foods, blah, blah, blah. So it's the kind of shit that's gonna catch up, and you can't go back. You can't erase. You can't turn back the clock. You're gonna have to deal with the consequences, but why deal with the consequences when you can prevent the consequences from even occurring? So again, you still have a chance to share the broadcast before we get into the meat and potatoes. Everyone, cheers, take another sip of coffee. Cool beans, yo, cool beans. And keep dropping in the comments below. If I see a couple comments, I'll get into it. But tonight for the nutrition workshop, I'm going to be right here in front of the board. For the nutrition workshop, it's going to be a lot more interactive. I'm going to be taking a lot more questions. We'll be having a lot more of a discussion about things. Because no matter what we discuss in any aspect, you know, there's a lot of individuality. So some of you might find benefits and results from certain styles of eating and certain things that another person would not, right? So for example, let's say a certain type of rice someone might love, and then the next person might have allergic reactions and get very, very bloated from that. Or beans. Someone mentioned yesterday, oh, rice and beans together are complete protein. Sure, a lot of people have a lot of issues digesting beans and eating beans, and getting gassy from beans is not a positive body response. So it means that your body's not reacting well to it. So complete protein or not, there's certain foods that maybe you shouldn't be eating because your body doesn't fucking like it. And it could just be because of the percentage of certain types of bacteria in your gut, but you have a whole ecosystem in your intestines and in your stomach that will determine what's best for you. And that can be a result from genetics. It can be a result from habit and what it's been exposed to over the course of years and years, and what type of bacteria has built up in your system. And it's very important to understand that you have bacteria and you have these little organisms that digest the food for you, that do this work with you, and you have to appease, because if you don't, they're going to get angry and you're going to have a lot of issues. You could have irritation and inflammation that's going to affect your allergies and your intolerances, and that's something that's going to be discussed tonight as well. So carb me up, Buttercup. What are carbohydrates? So we had a couple conversations this week, and there's many types of carbs. I'm going to use glucose as a sugar, glucose at its storage form, glycogen. There's some basics, and fiber. Now this is general, so I'm not going into some macro groups. I'm talking about the things that we're going to be most, interested in. So we have two different types of carbs that we're interested in, glucose and fiber. Now glucose is the end product. So if you're catching this now, I'm not going into monosaccharides and polysaccharides, all the different, and starches. I'm not going into all those different things. I'm talking about what the body is trying to break it down into. So you have these types of fiber. Fiber does not get used, not for energy, but it's good for digestion. It's good for regulating sugar uptake. And glucose is obviously the preferred form of energy for the body. It's used for all sorts of things. In what we're discussing right now, we're going to talk about muscle contraction or muscle, energy, body processes. Super fucking general. Super general. Not getting technical, there's no need. Okay? This is not a doctor's office. We're going over the generalities. So glucose and sugar is the body's preferred form of energy. So the body wants to use carbs. Naturally, the body wants to use carbs. Now, carb me up, Buttercup, there's a couple different ways to consume carbohydrates. There's high carb diet. I guess you could call it a moderate carb diet, and then you have a low carb diet. One of the problems with these different things is that people usually don't balance them out properly. When they go high carb, they don't balance it out with the other things that are necessary. And when they go low carb, they don't balance it out with the things necessary. So they go low carb and they actually hurt themselves because they're not setting themselves up by adding more of the proper things on the other end of the scale. They're not balancing it out. They just go low carb, high protein, which is the trashiest way to eat on earth. So carbohydrates are what your body wants to consume. Now, you can change and alter what your body uses as a primary source of energy. It's called ketosis, where your body will actually use blood ketones as a result of metabolizing fat. When fat is pretty much the only thing present in the body, your body can shift and start digesting fats and using fats as the primary source. That can be very effective for people that have sugar sensitivities and insulin issues, diabetes, need to lose a lot of weight, because you put your body in a very, very primary fat burning situation and fat burning environment, that it's easier for your body to metabolize fat that's already on the body. It's very efficient for a big, a large amount of weight loss. So people that have excessive amounts of weight to lose, ketosis is a very, very viable thing to look into. I would not recommend ketosis. Hey, I have to lose 10 pounds. Let me go into ketosis. It's not really something for like a small, I need to lose a few pounds. It can be, you can do a more fat adapted diet, more of a lower moderate carb diet. But if you're looking for extreme weight loss, ketosis is definitely a viable option. There's been a lot of success with it. And a lot of things that can help, and a big way to regulate sugar and regulate the blood sugar and the insulin levels, because you have trained your body and retrained your body to use fat for its metabolic processes, and your body doesn't need the same type of insulin sensitivity and insulin activity, period, when it's in ketosis. But that's a whole, I've done other episodes on that. You can search those on YouTube and look that up. But this is mostly about carbohydrates today. So when you're doing higher carbohydrate, this is generally looked at as like athletic. Lots of activity, athletics, sports, football, blah, blah, blah. You're doing a lot of high carbohydrate because you're utilizing a lot of energy. Swimming, any kind of a really intense activity that requires a lot of energy. Moderate, I'm not really going to touch upon that, because that's just kind of like, the average. We'll say average, when you say, okay, the average diet, maybe 40, 30, 30, you're having like an even percentage of fat, protein, and carbs. That's just like the run of the mill. And the low carb, there's two things where you can do when you go low carb. People usually do high protein, or they go high fat. And when you go high carb, you should absolutely not be going high protein, because if you're trying to get into ketosis, if you're trying to do a high fat diet, first off, you're not getting energy from protein. Very, very small amounts of energy. And one of the problems when people drop carbohydrates with a low carb diet, let's discuss this for a second. When people go low carb, they lose weight really quickly, right? They lose a little bit of weight. They get very, very fucking excited. Hey, I lost 10 pounds in a week. I lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Well, you lose a shitload of water weight. Okay, so when you go on a low carb diet right away, higher protein, you just drop carbs, you're losing water. You're not losing fat right away. So people that lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, it's not fat. It's mostly water, which means you're probably dehydrated. Because when you're getting rid of carbs, when you're consuming carbs, you retain water. Water comes in with carbs and water goes with carbs. So the molecules actually, quote, attach to the carbohydrates. When you're getting rid of them, you lose water. And that's why people see such a great change when they drop carbohydrates in a short span, because they lose water. You're not losing 10 pounds of fat in a week. You're not losing 20 pounds of fat in 2 weeks. It's not going to happen. You're losing water weight. And I think we all underestimate, for example, if I'm 200 pounds, 200 pounds is evenly dispersed. You don't see how dense you are. You don't know how dense you are. You don't realize how much water you have on your body. So when you lose 20 pounds, you're like, oh, that's not all water. I mean, I lost 20 pounds. Like, yeah, you're moist. You're moist. Everything is in your body. It's water. It's like 70% water. So anytime you lose weight, you're losing water along with it. There's nothing wrong with it. When you lose weight, you're going to lose water too, but you're losing primarily water. And it tricks your mind, because first off, you're dehydrated. And also, it gives you a false sense of how quickly you're going to continue to see weight loss, because you're going to plateau very quickly when you start losing a lot of weight like that. So you're losing a lot of water, and then what a lot of people do is they go for a high protein. And the problem with going high protein when you're dropping carbohydrates is protein takes about 7 times the amount of water required to metabolize than carbohydrates. So you're probably not compensating that with enough water intake, you're not upping the intake, you're increasing the protein and you're stressing the body. And that's why people say, oh, it's bad for your kidneys. Well, it's bad for your kidneys, first off, if you're not drinking enough water because you're dehydrated. One, because you cut carbs, so you lost water already. You're not replacing it with extra water, and you're eating more protein, which requires more water. And things with other reasons why it doesn't work is that protein is very unsatisfying. It doesn't make you feel as full. It doesn't give you energy. So it's a very unfulfilling type of thing to eat. Eating extra chicken and extra eggs and extra, I mean, if you're having fat, but like egg whites or turkey, I mean, you're gonna eat, but you're still gonna feel hungry because it doesn't satisfy. Your body is not readily using chicken for energy. It doesn't. It uses that for other rebuilding processes, but your body is looking for fat and looking for carbs. So when you're dropping carbohydrates, you need to be looking to increase the fat content. Otherwise, you're going to have a relapse, a rebound. The weight's going to come back. You're just losing water weight in the short term. So it's not really a wise thing to do. That is one of the issues with these low carbohydrate diets. So Carb Me Up, I am not necessarily a fan of a super high carb diet. When you say high carb, maybe 50, 60, 70% of your diet is carbohydrates. That's extremely high. If you're very, very active, if you're doing, I don't know, if you're playing football, you're doing 2 or 3 workouts a day. If you're, a high level athlete, a higher carbohydrate diet could be something that's more effective. If you're an endurance athlete, you could also look into ketosis. You could also look into fat adaptation, because a lot of people that do triathlons and endurance, races find a lot of benefit from being in ketosis, but that's, up to the individual, because carbohydrates can be very bloating. You can feel very weighed down by having a ton of carbs. And your body also can't produce as much energy from carbohydrates as it can from fat. So you have really a different split when you're doing carbs. Generally, are you going to go high or are you going to go low? Now, if you're going to go low, you need to be looking into increasing fat. Okay? If you're going high, it needs to be for a purpose. So this is how I look at it. This is how I look at it. This is how I look at it. That's how I look at it. This is how I see it. This is my experience, okay? Now, you can go read all the books you want. You can go read all the textbooks. Facts are facts. I was in ketosis. I did that. I went into it. And I almost felt like I was passing out during my weight training sessions. I would squat down to break between sets. I would stand up and I would get dizzy. It didn't work for me. It didn't work for me with weight training. I tried it. Yeah, I lost weight. I lost some muscle. I got leaner. My skin looked great. I had energy. It was nice. I didn't feel cravings, this, that, and the other. But I wasn't looking to lose a ton of weight. I just did it because for health reasons. Now I do more of a higher, maybe fat adapted, fat biased diet. I do a lot of fat, but I don't go into ketosis. What I do personally to lean out, to get leaner, if I'm oh man, I'm getting a little bit more, I want to be a little more tighter, I just play around with the carbs. I just start cutting the carbs a little bit more and I keep the fat a little bit higher. If I feel good, I'll up the carbs a little bit and drop the fat a little bit. I don't worry too much about pounding tons and tons of protein. You really don't need all the protein that's being shoved in your face. We're being shoved steaks and beef and fucking protein shakes. The industry is shoving protein in your face all the time. All the time. I think protein powder started off with some good intentions, there's some good ideas behind it, but then it just became hey, after a workout, I'm gonna drink a protein shake. That's the most useless fucking thing after a workout. It's the most useless thing after a workout is to fucking suck down a protein shake. You need some carbohydrates, you need some fuel. Your body isn't oh yay, protein right after a workout. Oh whey, oh milk-based protein after a workout. I'm so fucking excited. Your body needs to replenish glycogen, glucose in the muscles. It needs to replenish. And protein's not fucking, a protein shake isn't helping the body do that. You need sugars, you need carbohydrates. So, and I'm not saying, I know there's, and there's, I'm sure there's research that shows that the combination, but I'm saying a lot of people just mix water and protein and then drink it. your body isn't like designed to use protein for energy. So you're trying to replenish and rebuild. You're not rebuilding right in that moment. You're gonna rebuild while you sleep, and you have other meals after your workout. So the best thing to do is to get something small and absorb quickly, and then go home and eat. And then go home and eat. You need food. You need food. And fucking newsflash, protein shakes, it's just food. It's ground up, processed, artificial food. Yeah, I'm sorry, but there's no protein that I'm aware of that tastes like, chocolate chip cookie dough. It's artificial flavorings, it's powdered, it's marketed, and it's put in a tub, and you're scooping it and mixing it, and the way the protein gets stuck on the side of the bottle, that's what happens on the inside of your asshole and your intestines and your stomach. It gets stuck inside your body too. And it can also cause inflammation and allergic reactions. And there's a reason why if you have a big protein shake, you're farting. Oh, protein fart. That's not like a natural thing for the body. That's not like a good thing. Oh, I'm shitting myself. I had protein. Good workout. Oh, this protein's delicious. And you're splattering against the wall. That's not a good thing. That's like that's fucking like alarm level 6. Like, that's not good for the body because you're crapping it out. When it comes out the way it went in, probably not the best supplement for you. Are there better ones than others out there? I'm sure. It's just easier to say, focus on food, fucking eat, and focus on things that are going to help you in the long term rather than just, what powder can I consume that's going to help me get bigger quicker? None. Zero. Training hard and eating the right food for years, that'll help you get it done. That's just facts. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to make it quicker if you're not doing everything else right. I'll tell you what, you drink all the protein shakes you want. If you're not eating properly and training properly, ain't going to do shit. So how important really is it? You can't fix bad nutrition with a protein shake. You can't fix a bad workout with a protein shake. Just a thought. Okay, so for me, when I look at carbohydrates, I look at purpose. What's the purpose of what you're doing? Are you going high carbs for a reason? Most people don't have a purpose for going high carb. They go high carb, they're eating. Drop it down. What are some carbs? What are some carbs that people eat? What are some crappy carbs? Come on, here we go. I'll start you off. Soda. Go. What do you see? What do you see extremely overweight people pushing in their car at the supermarket? And you think to yourself, fucking crap. They're eating that? How can they eat that? How can they feed? It's a whole fat family pushing all this crap in a cart. If you're one of those people, stop right now. Cold cereal, pizza, cereal, keep it coming. What else we got? Granola, good. Granola, candy, sweetbread, ooh, candy, sweetbread. Sounds kind of gross, actually. Chips, yep. Cheeps, French fries, juice. French fries, juice. All right, you get the idea. I don't have enough diet soda, bread, cereal. I don't have enough room on the board. We can go all day. Good. Sports drinks, yes. Gatorades. Yeah, Gatorade, right? How many people drink Gatorade? They don't even fucking work out. And even people that work out, you don't really need Gatorade. You don't need Gatorade. You don't need sugar. Did you know, and this is just science, this is sports science, you don't need sugar replenishment for like an activity like in the gym unless you're doing like 2 hours of continuous endurance training. You don't need to be drinking Gatorade. You don't need, and they're too rich anyway. You only need like a 0.8% solution in order to, or like an 8% solution to replenish the body properly, because if it's too thick, your body can't digest it. You're gonna get indigestion and you have issues. So there's a lot of shit that people do wrong, even these companies do wrong. And Gatorade's such fucking shit. It's such shit. They give it to their inactive kids. That's the big problem. So let's look at this. I'll leave that there. So when you have you say you have high carbohydrate, right? So look at what people that normally do high carbs: soda, candy, pizza, sweetbread, cereal, chips, granola. Most people do high carbs that don't work out, and they're doing high carbs of shit, right? They're doing high carbs of shit, like a shitload of crappy, shitty carbs. Now, how many do you think you can eat? Now watch this. Do you think you can eat more of this? Okay? I'm going to put this as high shit, and I'm going to put this as high good. Now, high good is a very, very technical term. That's a scientific term, high good. That's not even grammatically accurate, but I like it. It's high good. It's a very high good level, okay? So soda, candy, high shit, and high good, okay? So let's say sweet potatoes, right? Or yams, okay? Let's say rice. Let's say oatmeal. I'm just gonna give a couple. All right, high good, carbs, veggies. That's enough. Whatever. Okay. If you're doing a high carb diet, do you think it's going to be easier to eat this or to eat a lot of this? I mean, high carb, it's hard. It's hard to eat a lot of, come on, man. You know how hard it is to eat like more than one sweet potato in a fucking sitting? It's nauseating. Try eating 4 sweet potatoes in a day. Good luck with that. Rice, oatmeal, veggies, you can do gluten-free oatmeal, whatever. I mean, but this is like good carbohydrates. That's why people are always looking for like pastas and things that are going to pack it in. So when you're doing higher carbohydrate, it's much harder to overeat this. No one wants to overeat this. You're forcing it in. It's very easy to overeat this because the nutrient density for volume, you're getting a lot more nutrients than this. This is going to give you a lot more satisfaction than this. So not only is there the relation between high and low carb, there's the high amount of shit carbs and high good. And here's the thing. If you're doing these, much less likely that you're going to be overweight. When you're doing this, very likely you're going to be overweight whether or not you're exercising or not. And most people that are filling up their shopping carts with this don't even exercise. They don't even fucking lift. They don't even fucking lift. They just pound this stuff. They feed it to their family. They feed it to their kids. And it really is child abuse. Feeding your children this stuff is child abuse. You might want to be in denial. I'm like, no, well, my kid eats that. You try having a kid and trying to get your kid to eat. Yeah, if I had a kid, and I've been with kids before, you tell them what to eat and they fucking eat it or they don't eat at all. You parents gotta fucking toughen the shit up. You gotta get tougher, man. You gotta get tougher. You think your kid's gonna go to the supermarket, get in the car and drive there and buy their own food? Eat or don't eat. Whatever happened to that? Don't eat and go to bed hungry. But you're hungry. Then eat. But I don't want to eat that. Then don't eat. It's very simple. Eat or don't eat. Eat or don't eat. Simple, simple. You want to eat this shit? Maybe once in a while. I'm not saying never give your kids anything good, but I know people that their child has never had artificial sugar in the few years that they've been alive. They're like 2, 3 years old. That's fantastic. You know why? Because they don't put it in their mouth. Babies, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds shouldn't be eating ice cream. You shouldn't be giving them that shit. You're teasing them. You're teaching them that, oh, this tastes good, cool. I mean, you kind of create these pathways. Of course they're going to want more. We all want more. We all want, it tastes good. You know why? Because they chemically design it. So it hits your tongue and it tells the brain, good. This is high good. No, it's high shit. So this is the problem. Most people do this and they don't even exercise. People that do this, even if you don't exercise, you're going to have a tough time gaining a lot of weight. You're going to have a tough time getting absolutely huge. Oh man, I got to cut down those sweet potatoes. I've been gaining weight like crazy. Too many sweet potatoes. Yeah. Too much, oatmeal, too many vegetables. Yeah, rice, I guess you can gain weight with rice, but most people put too much salt and, that saffron garbage on rice and stuff. But I'm talking about, relatively speaking, this is going to be much easier, empty calories to pack on and everything in between. Okay, so you get the idea. So these are extremes, but that's the idea. Tonight, in the nutrition workshop, those of you that might just be joining in my premium group, a lot more of this and very structured. So literally going to be going over how to approach all of this. So in recap, this week has been a lot of, okay, let's talk about fiber, let's talk about carbs, let's talk about greens. Tonight, I want to go over, you don't know what to eat, okay? Everyone tells me you don't know what to eat. I don't get it. I think it's the easiest fucking thing. I think it's simple. I think it's easy. Just do it. Here's how you can find out. If you want to know exactly how you should be eating for your body, I'm going to explain how you can figure it out. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. But you can systematically find out not just what your body digests properly, but what your body reacts poorly to. So if you really want to find out what and really get into what your body truly needs, like what your body is actually mapping towards, what your body has reactions to, what your body will benefit mostly from. If you want to find out how to really customize your diet like no one else can tell you, you're going to have to do a scientific experiment on yourself. That's what it is. It's going to be trial and error on yourself, but I will show you and I'll explain to you how you can do that. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take a few weeks, but you can absolutely do this, and you can do it starting today, tomorrow. You can do it right away. So tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, nutrition workshop. If you're interested in signing up, first off, you get access to my private premium community. You get access to all the other previous workshops, the exercise videos. You get access to all the forums and everyone right away. But the link is in the description. So it's premium.swolenormous.com. Tonight, 8 p.m. nutrition workshop. I'm going to walk you through how you can get rid of the foods that are bad for you, and how you can start re-implementing the foods that are good for you, and what kind of approach you should be taking based on what your goals are. So also, Q&A and interactive. So we're gonna have I'm gonna be going into the comments regularly. So if you have any questions, and we'll discuss it as we go through, and that's just the way it is. So there's a lot of bio-individuality when it comes to nutrition. The most important thing is finding out and taking stock, buying stock in yourself, and understanding that it's up to you to really figure out if you care about yourself and you really want to take this seriously. That's what you need to do. You need to invest time into yourself, invest effort into yourself. How do you sign up for premium? In the link in the description, you actually could go to premium.swolenormous.com. Someone, if you can type it down there, premium.swolenormous.com, but it's also in the description of this post. So right in the title, in the post description, like in the title of this actual live broadcast, you can find it. But I'll put it in the comments below. If someone else can type in the comments below, that'll be super sweet. So I'll see everyone tonight in premium. Also, I'll be taking some more premium one-on-one calls this afternoon, those of you that signed up from the premium group. So I will see everyone tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're watching this later, you have time to sign up for this, probably up until 7:30. I'll be checking email and stuff and adding people to the group, but don't wait till the very, very last minute, because I want to get you in there in time. Otherwise, you're gonna have to catch a replay. So I want you there if you want to do Q&A and interact and be there live, which is really awesome. So I'll see everyone there tonight, 8 p.m. Peace, McGeese. Adusa Magoose. I'll see everyone tomorrow for episode 469. Is it 68? 69 of the Daily Mother. Swole! The most muscular Swolecast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Enjoy the rest of your coffee. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining me live every day right here, 12 noon Eastern Time. And also, you can catch the episodes on YouTube that are very searchable, and listen to all the podcasts on SoundCloud and iTunes. So if you're catching up on previous episodes, I highly recommend going over there to listen to the podcast. And I'll see a lot of you on Instagram, random Q&As, random live broadcasts. Check out my Instagram stories for behind the scenes and for other knowledge nukes in my feed and in my stories. So Instagram at Swolenormous, Swolenormous everywhere. Peace out. See you tonight at 8 p.m.